So, have you ever had one of those weeks where you look at your diary and you are amazed because the dream week has finally come? Well, that is what happened to me last night. Last night was Sunday night and I was looking at my diary for the week and I was like, holy cow, this is incredible. And I'll tell you why it's incredible. It's incredible because there is nothing in it. I say nothing. There's maybe a half a dozen meetings, but that's about it, which is unusual for me. There is a lot of free space. So, loving that, I am now gonna think very carefully about what it is I can fill that space with. Bon appetit. So I have just got back from the meeting with Ben and John talking about Matt stuff. Very cool, very exciting product, which I explained. But the exciting thing was when I got back, I found the box had arrived. Now, why is this exciting? Well, a box is never exciting. What's in the box actually is super exciting because what is inside this box is my DJI Spark. I guess I'm not getting any work done this afternoon. Ooh. For them. Well, they said it was small. I guess I'd not fully anticipated how small it was going to be. Fire alarm test.
This is a 6-month drill.
6-month drill.
Yeah.
Fire alarm is done and over, so I'm hoping we can play a bit more with this. See you later, guys. These just go in here, yeah?
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
I've been voted, which is great. We have such a strange voting system here in the UK. It seems like it needs a bit of an overhaul to me, but it doesn't stop me voting as much as I think it's nuts. Still got to go vote, because that's what democracy is, and a lot of people have fought very hard for us to be able to vote, and so we can't take it lightly. At least that's my view on the whole thing, right? So get out and vote, people. One of the things that I have found particularly difficult during this election campaign is how Britain is just, well, it's turning into what we call a slagging match. That guy slags that guy off, the other guy slags him back, and it's like, I really don't enjoy that breed of politics. And all the parties have been rubbish with their campaigns. Too much mudslinging as far as I'm concerned. And then there's all the sensationalist headlines in the press. And obviously the press is biased depending on which party they support. And then everybody that supports that party will go and post it on social media as though it's the truth. I've unfriended a lot of people, have to be honest, during this political campaign for such things where we just seemingly post nonsense. The sensationalist headlines, and we've bought into it all. I thought we were better than that. That got deep very quick, didn't it? But you know what I mean? It's like, let's have sensible debate. I love debate, especially because no party is perfect, but they're all doing some great things, and why we can't come together in debate, I don't know. But this mudslinging, trying to catch each other doing stupid things wrong, and then the crazy posts on social media, I hope it gets better than this. I really do. So, question of the vlog, and today is all about public speaking. That's right, public speaking. How do I build my confidence for public speaking? I had a tweet. How can I grow my confidence when it comes to public speaking? Now, I've done quite a bit of public speaking in my time, if I'm honest, to various different groups of people in various different countries around the world. So here are my 3 top tips for growing your confidence when it comes to public speaking. Number 1. Authentic story. What do I mean by this? Authentic, it's all about being you, right? And speaking like you would speak rather than, say, Tony Robbins or Malcolm Gladwell or Ken Wright or whoever your favorite speakers are. You're not copying them, you're not trying to be someone else on the stage. You, my friend, just have to be you. It does not work when you think you have to get up on stage and speak like somebody else, because people see through that, because that is not authentic. So be authentic, be you, use your language, your style, because that will be much more engaging. Tip number 2, know your audience. When you do public speaking, you have to really understand who it is you are speaking to and what it is they want to come away with from your talk. If you're talking to kids, then obviously it's going to be very different how you pitch that talk than if you're talking to adults. Now you get the difference between those two things, but more subtly, you might be talking to a bunch of CEOs here, maybe a bunch of middle management over here. Well, they're going to want different things, right? So you've got to understand who your audience is, see the world through their eyes, try and put yourself in their shoes, if you like, sit on their side of the table. I'm trying to think of any more corny sayings that... No, I think I've exhausted them all, but you get the point. You have to think of it. What is it they want? How do they think? What do they know about the world? How do they perceive it? Don't talk about football if the people you're talking to don't like football, for example. Don't use football analogies. So understand who it is you're talking to and what it is they want. Spend a bit of time figuring that out, because that sometimes helps write half the message, if I'm honest with you. And tip number 3 is practice. Practice and practice some more. What do I mean by this? Clue's kind of in the title, really, but you've got to practice, right? Practice, practice, practice. Now, I have a real simple policy when it comes to this. If I'm ever going to do a talk, I will write that talk out longhand or word for word. I'll write it out on a piece of paper, what it is that I think I'm going to say. I do like to ad lib. I don't do scripts particularly well, which you will know if you've ever seen any of my videos. I don't do scripts particularly well. I like to ad lib and throw things in here and there, but when it comes to preparing the talk, I still write it out word for word, and then I will read that out aloud. I don't just sit there reading it in my head, I get it out of my mouth, and I'll find a quiet room where I can just pace up and down the room practicing that talk. Because how it sounds once you see it out loud is very different to how it is in your head. And so that is my top tip. Practice, practice, practice your talk. Rehearse it, rehearse, rehearse. Get it out of your mouth and listen to yourself doing it. Okay, so number 1, authentic, be you. Number 2, know your audience. And number 3, practice, practice, practice. Now, of course, I go into each of these things in much more detail in this week's podcast, the QOTV podcast. If you're not subscribing to that, go check it out on iTunes. It's a really, really new podcast where we look at the question of the vlog and we spend a bit more time answering it and going into it a little bit more. A little bit like that practice. What are some of the practical things you can do which will help you? How do you research your audience a little bit? You know, things like that. So the podcast is worth listening to if you have an interest in public speaking and want to know a little bit more. So check that out on iTunes. So that is this week's question of the vlog answered. The question of the vlog YouTube video, or head on over to I hope that's answered. Have a great